Hi, hi everyone.
Okay.
I've got the young Mervyn Richards and relatively young Chris Vernon joining me tonight. Pretty might come on later. She's bound to be watching. She loves watching. She did a program with me separately, which is going to air about another hour's time. But tomorrow the girls have got their own platform. Pretty Upala, Aparna Saini, ex-Sri Lankan opening bowler, Shripali Wirakoti is coming on, only because it's an all-women's show. Winifred Durasayam, the captain of Malaysia, cute little thing, she's a lovely girl. She's coming on as well. Potentially some people like Harini Rana and Kritika Naidu, and it's all women, totally women. I'll be there for about 60 seconds. I'll say, hi, everyone. This is Norman.
No.
Here are the girls. Over to you. And I disappear. And then I become the director.
And then they'll kick you out, is what you're saying.
Yeah, they'll kick me out for sure. So us men have to live it up tonight.
Yeah, make the most of it.
But we've been very fortunate because of Mervyn to be on two shows, one with Mervyn and one with Sir Vivian, of course. And that was really good fun. And thanks to Mervyn for organising that. It was a great experience. Very long shows, though, almost 2 hours or more than 2 hours. Great chats, weren't they?
Yeah.
Now,
yeah, he's all excited. He wants to come back.
Does he?
For more reviews, Yeah. He had a good time. It was we barely talked anything about cricket, but just of him growing up in the community, and with the long-time friends. So it was a show with a difference,
Oh, it was. It was so intriguing because you talked about things that nobody else would have heard of, I don't think.
That is correct.
Stuff.
Yeah.
And that makes it a good show, doesn't it, Chris? To be able to Mervyn and to talk about his brother, his family, his friends, people that have known since they were kids. I mean, as I know very well, Antigua is it's so closely knit. Everybody knows everybody, don't they?
Yeah, I've been to Antigua. It's a lovely place, and I've got a couple of guys who came over. So I went to school where Richie Richardson's son went to school, and he sponsored a West Indian young cricketer to come over to the school as like a scholarship. So we had and Merv will probably know them more than Norman just because they're West Indian guys. But Harry Richardson was at school, Orlando Peters, Hayden Walsh, all sort of young Antiguan guys who were.
Well, because yeah.
So Richie Richardson sponsored the guys to come over and come to school here, which is great. So I know Orlando and I know Orlando reasonably well, but Hayden Walsh I know, who's now playing for the West Indies, I know really well.
Right. Yeah. You got some good guys there,
No, it's cool.
Orlando Peters, he played for Antigua I think he's still on the Antiguan team.
Yeah. No, good cricketer. Was quite quick, that's for sure. When I was 15 facing him or 14 facing him, he was a few years older than me. So yeah, he was quick, especially indoors.
Yeah, I've had a question there.
And for a short guy, right?
Yeah, skiddy, good bouncer. And you didn't want to annoy him, which is the same for most quick bowlers, to be fair. They're not all very clever, are they?
So, what you were playing for who, Chris?
That was at school. So as I said, Richie Richardson had a connection with the Lashings team over here, which is based about 10 minutes away. And they used to play. So every year, Lashings used to come down and play at the school. And Sachin Tendulkar played in one. To be fair, he played 3 games one year for Lashings, and one of them was at my school. I was 12th man because I was only 13 to play in the first team. But so he played against Alan Mullally of all people. Chris Cairns played against lots of guys. It was Richie Richardson, Eldine Baptiste. Best played 1 year. That was at school. Yeah, it was good.
What school was that?
Sutton Valence, it's called, down in Kent.
Which one? Sutton what?
Sutton Valence.
Sutton Valence.
Yeah. So, but yeah, if you know Richie Richardson well, man, you have to.
Of course, he knows him well.
Then you have to say he won't know who I am, but he'll know the school name and say that you did a chat with someone from Sutton Valence, and he says hello.
What's Richie doing?
But you know, but in the past, you know, we often said, you know, like being so close to North America, you know, basketball, all our tall guys used to, you know, just gravitated to basketball and football, soccer, where they would, you know, the opportunities for them to get some scholarship. Even if they don't turn out to be professionals in that particular field, they would get an education and get a good job, you know. And so cricket was one of those things where we were losing a lot of our players simply because there were no opportunities until some of our guys, like the guys you mentioned just a little earlier, like Orlando and Harry Richardson and Peyton Walsh, when they, you know, we tried to get some sort of scholarship for them to go to attend some sort of cricketing school, or, you know, to get an education while they play their cricket, you know.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So I thought that was a good thing, you know. It wasn't on a full scale thing, but you know, yeah.
No, it's important for those
guys.
If
there were the opportunities, you know, yeah.
Absolutely.
So the guy called let me have a look here. It's really gone through. Gary Bunker said, "Why is Doug Walters not open for discussion?" Well, he is. In fact, Len Pascoe and I and Doug, a guy called Matt Scullion, who's a performer, and Jeff Thompson are involved in some gigs coming up in the future weeks. And they're going to Queensland, and they have these talks, and so they're doing things. So we'll have Doug on at a later stage for sure. Maybe next week. Also, the World Test Championship, if it's a draw, it'll go to India at this point, because if India are number one on the list, they by default will win it. Is that right, Chris?
I don't know. I was just thinking that obviously it'll be interesting to see how the Indian fans interpret that. Obviously, after saying that England didn't really win the World Cup because it was a tie, it'd be interesting to see if they claim the World Test Championship on a drawn test on the same logic. So we'll have to wait and see. But I honestly don't know what the rules are on that one. So
well, India are technically more points at the moment, so you have to. There can't be any other way of doing it. That's
unless they play it at another time or have a reserve or find the test. I don't know. Honestly, I'm not sure.
Well, why not? They didn't do that for a World Cup. They're not going to do it for this. I'm pretty sure. So Sutton Valence, and you've got the other one, which is Hollywood and Vine. Now, what was it called again?
Sevenoaks Vine. Slightly different. One's a school, one's a cricket club. There we go.
Yeah. So Sutton Valence is a school.
Sevenoaks Vine's like the Bankstown equivalent of cricket.
Right.
It's one of the biggest and most famous cricket clubs in the country, for sure.
Mervyn, who did you play for? What was the school teams that you played for, your brother played for?
The Antigua Grammar School.
Antigua Grammar School.
The Antigua, that is correct. And we played in the first class, you know, both cricket and football in the league. And so when there were school games, we had a second 11 to play that school. You know, so there was quite a lot of talent at that particular time, and we were exposed, you know, to the big leagues pretty early.
What did you do?
You know, it's like having 16-year-old, 15-year-old guys playing in the first class games.
Were you a batter or a bowler?
I would consider myself an all-arounder. I fancied myself a bowler first because, as I told you earlier, I was the one who had to bowl Vivid all the time because he grabbed his bat first, you know.
You had no choice.
And yeah, that's correct. And then I used to bat at 7, and until I started moving up the order, and then I batted at number 3 or 4 for Antigua, and number 4 for the Leeward Islands.
So Leeward Islands consisted of Antigua, St. Kitts,
Nevis, St. Kitts, and Montserrat at that time. But now they have included St. Martin and the Virgin Islands. So, and Anguilla.
But there's never been,
but when I started, sorry,
there was never a play for Anguilla though, was there? They played for West Indies.
Who's that?
No, who played for? Was there any West Indian player that played for Anguilla and then played for the West Indies? No.
Well, they had an Anguillan. What's his name? Banks, Omari Banks. Yes. He was from Anguilla.
Yeah. That's right.
And he also played for the West Indies in that record-breaking chase at the Antigua Recreation Grounds. Yeah, against Australia.
So Chase also
played for that century.
And Anguilla, Chase played for Anguilla as well?
No, Chase is the Chase now, Ralston Chase.
Yeah. Where's he from?
You're asking about Ralston Chase now on the West Indies team? No, he's Barbadian.
Okay. So Leeward Islands were, as you said, Antigua, St. Kitts, Nevis, Montserrat, and now Anguilla and British Virgin Islands, you said? Yeah. And the Islands?
Yeah, no, the US Virgin Islands.
US Virgin Islands.
Yeah. And they had that's correct. They had a lot of Antiguans and guys from the Leeward Islands migrated there, so you hardly had anybody who was born in the US Virgin Islands. Their game was baseball, and basketball. But for the migrants, the people who migrated there, they played the game. So we ended up with guys who played in our first class games here, who went to the Virgin Islands and who couldn't make the team here in Antigua, and they became stars in the US Virgin Island and came up against us.
Right. So Jamaica?
So it was like they played for the US Virgin Island, but they were Antiguans and they were Kittitians.
So hang on, you got the Leeward Islands, the Windward Islands. Where did Jamaica? Jamaica was its own.
I think they play themselves, don't they, Jamaica?
No, Jamaica. Jamaica was, was one of the big four. It was one of the big fours. Jamaica was one of the big fours. Barbados, Trinidad, and Guyana.
Exactly. So it was Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, and Guyana, and then the Leeward and Windward Islands. Correct?
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
So effectively, there were 6 groupings.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. So
then at one time, Then at one time, they were the combined islands team, where the Leeward and the Windward come together, and they played in the Shell Shield. That was the league that was sponsored by Shell, this oil company. And then after there was a separation with the Windward and the Leewards. So the Leewards went on their own, and also the Leewards. And then there were this. It was in the air that that when we had all the players, because you would find like there were 9 Antiguans on the Leeward Islands team, and then there were the idea that Antigua should be on their own, just like Jamaica and Barbados, and then they would still have a Leeward Islands team to comprise of the other islands, because we felt that we had enough talent that we could go on our own.
So St. Lucia was a part of the Windward Islands?
Well, sorry?
St. Lucia, who were they a part of?
Well, at the time we had the two Benjamins. We had Richie Richardson, we had Wrigley Jacobs, we had Dave Joseph, we had Sylvester Bouncing Joseph. You know, and there were a couple of guys who were knocking on the door also. You know, Kerry Jeremy. We had a lot of players at that particular time, and then you know there was the whole idea being pushed around us to that we should go on our own. You know.
But no, I was
to
talking
expose
about
our
St.
younger
Lucia.
players also.
St. Lucia. Where did St. Lucia fit? Who was on the Windward Island side? Who was in that group?
In those days, they had Sebastian from Dominica. They were the Shilling Fuds. Norman Phillip. You know.
Yeah.
I'm talking about guys in you know in our time. You know.
Mindu Phillip. What was the story of that person? He was a politician, wasn't he?
Sorry, Norbert Phillip. He also played for the West Indies for a brief time. Also with Grayson Shillingford and his brother Irvin. Yeah, he played for the West Indies. And I think it was against India when they came here, when they came to the West Indies in the 80s.
So the games that are on at Coolidge Cricket Ground, there's no spectators, as you said. There have been some great matches there, and you beat Sri Lanka 2-1 in that series.
That's right.
And then now moving on to the ODI.
But the lineup that we had, I mean, it should have been easy. 135, and you have Chris Gale, and you have Lewis, and you have Puran, and you have Captain Pollard. No, our tail was thick to 8, but it was the guy Fabian Allen, who I think is a very, very good cricketer, or very all-rounder. He's a good fielder. He bowls pretty tight, and he can bat at times. You know, he's kind of inconsistent with the bat, but he came off pretty good in the last game there. You know, and then you had Bravo also. Wow, I mean, we have we have a great T20 team, you know, and we didn't even have Russell and
Andre Russell, yeah.
This guy Simmons too. He's awesome.
Landell Simmons, yeah.
You know, but I think our problem was the spin. Our problem was the spin, and the Sri Lankans saw that, you know, and they bowl most spins at us, you know. They put on their spin bowlers, and still our guys were unable to deal with it positively.
And Dwayne Bravo still played too. He's good.
Yep. He's a master of deception, you know. I mean, you bowl you 6 different balls, you know. Some look like full toss, and then they like a full toss, and some slow, some very quick. He's very deceptive.
Certainly is,
and he still has it.
He's very fit. He tore his hamstring from the bone in one series, but he recovered already from that, so that's good. So, Chris, over to you. What's your summation of the T20? Talking about injuries, Natarajan looks like he's out with a shoulder. A couple of spin bowlers have been mentioned. I sent you that video. Did you look through that?
I had a brief look, as I've obviously had work calls this morning. I saw that he's a doubt. Would he have been a big factor for India in this series?
I think so.
Yeah, he'd have played. He's obviously still pretty inexperienced and young in his career, hasn't he? So, yeah.
He played well in Australia. He played very well in Australia.
Yeah, no, and the wickets might suit, you know, quick, more pace and bounce in Australia. So fast bowlers tend to like bowling there, don't they? But Guri Banker in the comments, I know it's a He says that the English white ball team is not an all-round team, heavily dependent on batsmen who are unstoppable on flat tracks. I mean, that's a bit harsh for a side that's beaten pretty much everyone in the world a lot in the last 4 or 5 years. And let's face it, the Indian wickets will be flat for the one days and the 2020s. So if you're worried that English batsmen are good on flat decks, then they'll go well in India because they'll just put flat wickets out in the 2020. So all one-day cricket, the way it's going, and it's turning into a bit more baseball style. It's just small grounds, flat wickets, who can hit it the furthest. You know, it's look how many side times 400, 350, 300 has been scored and chased in the last 3 or 4 years. You know, it's ridiculous in comparison. So all Indian grounds will all be flat for this series, and I expect to see lots of runs scored.
And people making comments having had my dinner. I'm actually eating something very healthy. I'm eating pistachio nuts. They're good for you, I've been told. All right, so as far as you're concerned, you think that the T20 team, or the two teams, are a lot closer. The ODI, you're saying, is more in England's favour. Is that what you're saying?
I think that home conditions will obviously benefit India with the crowds and as well. But, you know, I expect both series to be close. I expect, you know, in my opinion, these are the best two white ball cricket sides in the world. You know, 2020 is obviously a lot closer. You know, sides on their day can beat anyone, but generally, I would say England and India are probably the best two sides in the world when it comes to white ball cricket. So I'd expect to see quite a close series, and it's a pretty tough one to call. So.
Oh, by the way, that cap you're wearing, is that one of those ones that have got logo restrictions on?
Oh, mate, but I thought you said it was okay.
Well, I'll have to knock it out. No.
I don't know if I've got a Belize cricket cap here. I got this on tour.
Well, yeah, put a Belize one. Put it on.
I look really stupid though.
Well, that's
it's not very big.
But I thought you were Mr. Brad Pitt. You said.
Well, I mean, I'll still put it off, Norman. Look at that. It looks a bit silly.
That looks all right.
So Merv, this is an official Belize cap. I went on cricket tour with the MCC to Mexico, and we played against Belize in the South American Cricket Championships, and I got a cap out of it. So yeah, pretty cool.
So Belize, were they any good at cricket?
Right.
They've got some, and I'll wear this cap. I'll put it like this. There we go. No, they've got some unbelievable talent. Like in terms of when you say, what do you name one word or two words that sort of you describe West Indian cricket? It would be calypso, flair, you know, that sort of really sort of natural talent. These guys were unbelievable. For guys that have never been coached or just literally pick a bat up, had no kit and go in and whack it. I've never seen shots like it, clean hitters of a cricket ball. You know, fantastic. Yeah, they beat us. So we were a touring side in the final of this 2020. We played against Costa Rica, we played against Mexico, we played against you know, a couple other sides as well. And they beat us in Mexico City. So I went an MCC tour to Costa Rica and Mexico City for 2 weeks, nearly 2 years ago, and played in the South American T20 Championships, which was brilliant.
Wow.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay,
Yeah, really
so there was Belize, Costa Rica,
Mexico.
Honduras.
Didn't know they play cricket outside of the world.
Yeah, no, I mean Mexico City, where we played at like a club, not like a members club, and it's the highest cricket ground in the world or something. It's higher than.
Yeah, I had a friend who toured to Argentina also.
Yeah, that's another tour they do. But yeah, no, it's brilliant, and it's weird how when you play so high up, you see on the telly they talk about like the Joburg when the ball travels. It's definitely a thing, you know, like you're getting catches at long on or something and someone's hit at you and you misjudge it because the ball's, if you're trying to catch it here, the ball's sort of closer to you. It's amazing how little things make a big difference. And yeah, it's brilliant. It was a great 2 weeks.
So high altitude is what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was high. Yeah, it was high altitude. Yeah, I'll try and find how high it was.
I remember I was in Machu Picchu in Peru and they had a game of cricket there, being no tourists, and that's a rarefied high altitude scenario as well. I remember that. It was quite a bit of fun. You're out of breath very quickly. So I'm curious, Costa Rica, no, I want you to tell me, Costa Rica, Mexico, Belize.
Was it Honduras? Might have been Honduras. I'll try and find out. It's 2 years ago. I can't remember. I'll try and find out who else was in the
How many
competition.
teams? Had a guess.
I think there was 5 or 6 teams, or maybe two.
Okay, so
two
you've got
maybe
three,
8. I mean, I'll
couple
find
of
out.
five.
I'll find out for
Yes,
you.
yeah. So
I remember.
yeah, Norman's been to Machu Picchu. I've been to 103 countries. Pretty's been to 100 on the dot. How many have you been to, Chris?
I would have to work it out. 20 or 30, I'd imagine, probably.
Probably close to 30. Mervyn, you've been to Australia a few times. I know that. Where have you been,
Yeah,
Mervyn?
2 times. No, actually 3 times. Great.
You went to.
But I remember the story of this guy who was trying to get into the World Guinness Book of Records to say that he played cricket in all the countries of the world. And so when he went to Colombia, and he had his, his pads, and he checked through customs. The guy asked him, what are these? So he told him they were pads, for the cricket game. And they took a knife to go through it to see whether or not he had drugs in it, So he told them, who would be in their right mind to bring drugs into Colombia instead of taking it out?
Exactly.
Because he was arriving in Colombia, and so they locked him up to say, "Oh, so you would take drugs out?" So they had to come.
Take drugs out. Huh?
I think we've lost Merv.
Now, only temporarily, but I think what he was saying was people were jokingly saying, why would you bring drugs into him? And he's probably going to bring him out. Well, the fact is they didn't have the hunch that he might be the one taking him out. Your fan club's back too, by the way. I'm going to work out who that is.
Guri Banker, people cry when there is spin in Test cricket. Why no complaints about flat tracks and white ball cricket? Is it fun watching ordinary batsmen smash it around? I agree completely, Guri. I think some of the best one-day games are when it's 180 on a difficult wicket and they get it for 6 or 7. I think it's obviously great watching sides get 400 and sides get 380 chasing, but it's not a fair contest between bat and ball. And in the same way, you get some wickets in Test cricket that are too flat. I think Melbourne was one the last Ashes series where Cook got a big double 100 and England got 500 and Australia got 600, and that's equally as poor a Test wicket as one that spins like in the 3rd Test at Ahmedabad. But I think it's a good conversation to have. It just seems to be the way in cricket at the moment that T20 and one-day cricket, they want to be playing on flat wickets because they want to see sixes. They've got all the sponsors in for see it ties, timeouts, and how many sixes are hit and 4s and best shot of the day. It seems that the way it's going cricket-wise is that they want to see as many runs scored in those games as possible and not take contest with the ball.
And Test cricket's probably more the other way.
Yeah, possibly.
And that, there's a lot of.
But both teams, both teams, they're going to play positive cricket. That I do know. England from the first ball they attacking, and the same with India. So I think it's going to be very, very exciting. And I totally agree, Chris.
There's a couple of people asking. Sorry, a couple of people asking about whether the Test match hangover for England, will they still be, feeling it or being a bit down about it? And I don't think so at all. If you actually look at the sides, apart from maybe Johnny Bairstow, there's probably no one in that top 6 that will be the same. You've obviously got Stokes and Butler will be there, but Butler only played in the first Test. So, England's white ball mentality is very, very good, and Owen Morgan will come in and he'll have his own way, and they won't be thinking about that Test series at all. They're completely separate entities as far as I'm aware, and Axar Patel won't be taking 6 for 20 anymore in a one-day series. I wouldn't have thought.
But he will bowl.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's a very good white. He's probably a better white ball cricketer than he has been certainly the last few years as he has been Test cricket, and his career for India is going to be heavily weighted to the white ball game as opposed to Test cricket, I imagine, with the likes of Jadeja, Ashwin still got a few years left in the tank.
Take your head off, Chris.
Me? It's all right, isn't it?
No, I don't want to have to go through the pain of any of this.
I'll turn it around.
Okay. All right. There you go. That's the look. That's the look. Now he looks like an 18-year-old. Now he looks like an 18-year-old. All right. We talk a lot about T20. We talk a lot about ODIs, but I can't take my mind off the World Test Championship still, June 18th at the Rose Bowl, the Ageas Bowl. Is it Ageas Oval? Yes. Why is it named Ageas? That's a sponsor, isn't it?
Yeah, they're all sponsor names, yeah.
And it's called the Rose Bowl. Why is it called the Rose Bowl? What was the
Oh, well, the Hampshire badge is a rose, so I assume it's just named after that. It's a white rose. Well, it's a crest, so I would assume that it's just something to do with that.
It's actually one of my favourite grounds. I really like it.
It's very nice down there. Yeah.
It's a great atmosphere there. It's a great surrounds. It's great to actually venture there. Have you been to Southampton or Hampshire? Merv, can you hear us? I don't think you can.
It's a little distorted. Mm-hmm.
Hampshire. Have you been to Hampshire? South London.
What? It ain't South London.
Well, not London itself, I know. But
yeah, you're in and out, Norman. I'm not hearing you too well. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Well, we won't ask Mervyn that question, but Chris, you talk a bit more. I'm actually going to get a battery for my phone, so I'm worried about my mic. Give me 2 seconds. You have a chat, Chris. All right. I'm going to come back. I'm getting my battery. All right.
Okay. There's a lot of talk about the World Test Championship obviously being moved. They won't move it out of England, because of the winter now in Australia. It'll be winter in Australia, winter in India. And the Rose Bowl will be a very decent wicket. I think will actually suit India more being down there. It can be quite a bit flatter to bat on, so might negate some of their seam bowlers from New Zealand. So India might thrive there a bit more. So that's answer to Vasanth Narain's question. It all depends on the weather, really. As I said, there's lots of talk about the wicket, and that wickets aren't as much of a factor in England. You could have a green wicket on a sunny, hot day, and it'll be pretty good to bat on. Whereas you could have a flat wicket on a cloudy day that swings around, that makes it really difficult to bat on. So, it's going to be a test of which batting lineup can cope better with the high quality seamers both sides have on offer, really. But it'll be interesting to see. I don't know how. I don't think there'll be a crowd there, and it'll be interesting to see how popular it is with the local sort of television companies. Hopefully, they get it on the telly because it'll be good to see. So, Manu John, Chris, what would your message be for Root? What to focus on and what to do best to win? In terms of Test cricket, Manu?
Well, it has to be Test cricket.
Yeah, he asked something else. Root he said someone else offered. Oh, he asked a question. Okay. I think Root will just go home. I don't think he's going to be playing in the T20. He might play in the one-day stuff. I haven't seen the squad. So they'll just have to go and see. They won't be too worried about losing that series in India. I don't think they can take too much from it. They won a Test match, which is probably more than they would have necessarily expected, and they dominated that Test match. It wasn't a close Test match. So, I think they'll take the win. I think they'll see as a reasonably positive one. They won in Sri Lanka, won 2-0, and won a Test in India and competed for. I know India won 3-1, but they certainly competed for large portions of those tests that they lost. Ahmedabad, they bowled India out. The last Test they had them 6 down under pressure. So they'll take some positives out of that. And then they'll just go into a home summer and be excited to get back on home soil and to kick on.
Root's not in the one-day squad, is he?
I don't think he's in the one-day squad. He's definitely not in the T20 squad, which I think annoys him. I think that he wants to force his way back in there. I'm sure he will play some more white ball cricket. I think he averages over 50 in one-day cricket. So
yeah, he was quite a good batter.
Oh, he's
Mervyn,
one of the best.
Are you hearing us, Mervyn?
I am. Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes, I'm hearing Chris. Yeah.
Vivek Machado, why not at Lords? I feel the World Test Championship should be played at Lords only. It's just because of the COVID situation, Vivek. They've just taken a view that with lockdown and everything happening here, that they can, the players can play in a safe sort of COVID-style bubble fire bubble that allows them to do that. So I know the next World Test Championship final is at Lords as well. It's the first two. So hopefully in 2023, it'll be a packed house at Lords and be able to see a proper game of cricket between England and Australia, hopefully.
So is it every 2 years?
At the moment it is, I think, yeah. I think it'd be better off every 4 years, allow everyone to play everyone home and away. Similar to a World Cup, you could have it every 2 years and have World Cup and, space it out. So I think that's the way I would go. But, it's a good thing that they're testing and see if they can get a better sort of setup with it.
The thing is...
Tell me something, Chris.
Yes.
Speak, Mo.
I was going to ask Chris, if you think that the authorities, the cricket authorities, consult with the groundsmen as to tell them what pitch they should use, or the selectors, or they just fix a good wicket for a good contest. What do you think is that sort of mindset?
Interesting. It depends how much cricket they've got this year at the Rose Bowl, really. It's another test match to squeeze in. If they've got the 100, they've got 1 days, they might have a test match themselves. We've got 7 tests in England ourselves. It'll be interesting to see. I don't see it. People have this misconception in England that we just put green seamers out every test, and it's just not true at all. A lot of test matches in England tend to suit a seam bowler for the first session and a half. But then they tend to flatten out a bit and then spin days 4 and 5. So I think that it'll be interesting. The weather will depend. If it rains for a month before, which it could do in England, knowing what the weather's like, then it might suit the seamers more. But generally, I think they'll try and make it a good cricket wicket and have a good contest between bat and ball and have an exciting game. So we'll see. Yeah, I don't see them doctoring a wicket or suiting a wicket for either. I think they'll just try and put out the best sort of surface they can and hope for a good game.
So you think it's all left up to the groundsmen just to prepare a pitch? We're going to have a 1 day here, or we're going to have a T20 game, or we're going to have a test match, and just fix a good wicket, just fix a wicket. But for cricket,
I think so. I don't think. Yeah, okay. I don't think they'll be. I don't think they'll be told stick a green seamer out because we want New Zealand to win or anything. So,
but let's be fair. There's always a home ground advantage wherever you play in the world.
Oh yeah, but there's not. What Merv's asking is, will England choose what type of wicket to put New Zealand? I don't think England or the groundsman or the ECB.
No. I was asking whether or not. I'm trying to get behind the scenes as to find out whether or not, the selectors, when they select a team, they will consult with the groundsmen as to say, look, we've got so and so in the team. We need to have a pitch that would benefit them, or they just, or the groundsmen are left on their own just to prepare a test match that will last for 5 days. A pitch that's solid that will last for 5 days.
I'm sure that there is communication between ECB and groundsmen. Same in India, same in Australia. I'm sure it happens everywhere in the world. It's quite clear that the wickets in India were tailored to suit the spinners, and same in Australia. I don't think that they're putting out the best wicket possible certainly in Australia, but they could put out a slow wicket, whereas when they've got Johnson and Siddle and Ryan Harris over the years, that they put a bit more pace in the wicket. Same as the West Indies, I'm sure, would have done when they had Garner, Holding, Ambrose, Walsh. I'm sure they thought, let's put quick bouncy wickets out because it suits our bowling. So
there's also an element of tradition as well.
Right.
Traditionally, the gabber's fast and bouncy. That's just the way it is. It's not necessarily favouring a team. It's just the way it is. Obviously, Australia have adapted to that because they play on it more often. India's wickets are traditionally spin wickets because they're of a certain surface type that attracts a spin.
Yeah.
So, and hence Indian batters and bowlers have gotten used to playing on that surface over many decades, and that's why they're so spin friendly. So that's the reality. It's not that India just does it because they want to be doctoring it for them. The fact is that's what they're brought up on. These people play on those pitches.
I don't know if that's entirely true. I think I've seen in the comments that they say that they're a lot of the one-day and first-class stuff in India play on good, flat, seaming wickets. People in the comments can say, but these guys are banging out 180s yesterday. Pretty sure got 180. Padikal's got 400s in 4 games in the one-day stuff. They're not doing it on wickets like the way Ahmedabad in that Test match. You know, they'll be good batting.
No, but hang on, but you can't tell me that the Gabba all of a sudden, or the Wacker all of a sudden was a fast pitch. It was always a fast pitch. And
yeah,
I guess
of course,
the other issue is
it's easy to tailor a fast pitch. You know, you just cut it, you leave a bit more grass on it. You can. It's very easy to. If England turned up with 4 Jeff Thompsons this winter, and Australia had 3 Adam Hollyoaks, you know, bowling 80-mile-an-hour, and we had 4 100-mile-an-hour bowlers, I guarantee the Gabba would not be quick and bouncy. It would be slower and flatter because it would suit. You know, it's just how it, and without a doubt.
Yeah,
and that's not a bad thing. That's just saying how it is.
Okay, let's just take a step back from it, please.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move away from bias of curators.
It's not bias. It's just home advantage.
No, I'm just. Let me finish. I'm taking away all the unnecessary discussion about that. I'm talking about there are traditions about pitches over the years. Okay, if anything, Perth's probably slowed down now, and they moved to that other ground, which is no longer the same kind of pitch. I agree. You can change wickets somewhat, but still there's traditions about countries and grounds which we have to be reasonable about. If you go to India for the last 20, 30 years, you're going there because it spins. Okay, and you know that. It's not a shock to you. Batters need to get ready for it and not just be ready for it 2 weeks earlier. I find it no excuses at all. They should find a way of getting better on spinning wickets.
But that's the same for everyone in the world, isn't it?
That's right.
Name one country in the world that's thrived in India in the last 10 years. England won a series in 2012. Since then, they've lost 1 test out of 40.
Well, because you could say the same thing about Australia up until recently as well.
Yeah.
But okay, the reality is India doesn't allow people to play in their Ranji Trophy, don't get local exposure other than IPL, which are not spin wickets in general. So they're not getting exposure to those wickets anyway. That's where the problem is. And I keep coming back to this. There should be something from the ICC to insist that international players have the ability to get ready on those pitches. And actually, as the old days went, they played games. I think it was David Graveney and Adam talked to me about it. Between test matches, they played a match so they can get their confidence back. They played county matches or state matches, whatever country they're in, and they had exposure to games where they actually got their practice. They played 2 or 3 games before the first test match against Duke of Norfolk's 11 or whoever they played against. Don't you think, Mervyn, that's unfair these days? You're coming straight in and you're playing a test match. They don't give much of an opportunity to actually practice in real game atmosphere.
What's unfair? Sorry, I think.
In the old days, not that long ago, a touring team played a number of matches against county teams, state teams, provincial teams, leading up to a test match.
Right.
They don't do that enough now.
Well, I think you're right. To sort of get acclimatized, and the thing about it too is what they used to do also was to in between the test matches they would have a T20 or not a T20 like a scheduled T20 or ODI, and so sometimes and then a test match comes after. Now the disciplined players would be able to adapt quickly because when I say adapt quickly, like sometimes, I mean, our people here in the West Indies used to criticize our players for not knowing the difference between an ODI and a 5-day and a test match, and simply because bringing some of these games in between the test matches, they weren't disciplined enough to understand. Look, well, this is a 1-day or this is a 5-day, so we will find ourselves making like a 275 to 300 in 1 day and get out. And then, a strong team like Australia, India, and England, they will sit in the wicket for the next 2 days, right? And give us a little deficit. And then on the 4th day, they start pressuring us. And then, we lose a couple of wickets, even, a couple of good wickets before we actually knock that deficit out. And in the 5th day, it's always easy picking for these teams, So they were all kind of strategies, but I like the separation now. The separation of the 1 days and the T20 comes at one particular time and the test match comes at another time. So the brain can adapt to the different versions of the games. But I remember in 1974, 75, also when West Indies toured Australia. I mean, they had Thompson, Lilly. You had four-prong fast bowlers. Gave our players hell there. But then we came back in 78, 79, and we sort of prepared ourselves to mix it up. And we got four fast bowlers, and the Aussies couldn't really cope with that at that particular time. And we got practice, so it was sort of an even contest, you know. And regardless of how the wickets are being prepared, both teams have got to play in it. Both teams have got to play in it. So it's just a matter of your technique and your defensibility, and also the courage to. And if you consider yourself a good player, you should be able to try and cope with these conditions.
Exactly. Amit Shrivastava, I'm not asleep. He's written I'm asleep. That's not nice. And also, we've got a comment about the T20 playing limit. We talked a bit about that yesterday. But I think, well, very strong signals. Josh Butler's definitely on the side. I believe Liam Livingstone's also on the side.
Yeah, they might look at him. He's been in good form, hasn't he? I've read a couple of. It's some very confusing on Jofra Archer. I read a couple of days ago that he's out injured and might be out for a long time. Might be a long-term injury. Whereas I saw in the Daily Mail of all places this morning that he's been past fit. So I don't think anyone really knows where Jofra Archer is at injury-wise, which would be a big blow for England. So we'll just have to wait and see. You know, it could be that they like batting Bairstow at 4 or 5 in the side and lengthen the batting order, and they might chuck Liam Livingstone up the top with Jason Roy or Josh Butler. And if Liam Livingstone plays, then maybe Bairstow will miss out, and Liam Livingstone bat 4, because I imagine that they'll probably open with Roy and Butler because that's what they did in South Africa. So we'll just have to wait and see. It'll be interesting to see. I hope they open with Jason Roy. He's been a bit out of form, but you know, he's won a World Cup, and he's class if he's on song. He's a match winner.
So who are you opening with?
I think I would go Butler and Roy.
Oh, Roy.
But even Sam Curran and even a little bit, I think Liam Livingstone talked today about Alex Hales. He's not there, or he is there?
No, Hales isn't there. Not selected.
All right, okay, because they talked about him a fair bit, and it was interesting they were talking about it so much. Okay, so Liam Livingstone would be first drop? No, Milan would be first drop.
Milan would be first drop. Yeah, without doubt. Milan will be batting. That's as sure as eggs are eggs. That if he's fit, Milan will be batting through.
Okay, and then what about Livingstone? They're going to play. They're going to play him. I'm pretty sure they are.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd just be interested to see what they go with. I think it seems that looking at what India's side might be, they're going to go with an extra bowler and probably pick 6 bowlers. They might play Chahar, Bhuvi Kumar, whereas I think England will probably try and weight the batting. So we'll just have to wait and see. It depends what they want to do. Jason Roy. I think they'll open with Roy. He's the man in possession. Butler at the top, he's been successful in the IPL on these decks. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing it. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I think it's got. But is there a settled batting lineup? I don't think there is.
It's fairly settled. It's going to be.
Give me the batting lineup.
Well, in terms of where you could probably name 5 of the top 6. It'll be Butler, Milan, Morgan, Stokes. That'll be 4 of the top 5, and then it's just I assume they'll want to play Bairstow, or it'll be Bairstow or Livingstone probably batting at 4 or 5. I imagine I would be opening with Roy and Butler for the first one, Milan 3, maybe one of those in at 4, and then Morgan 5, Stokes 6, and then you've got Curran at 7. I would imagine something like that. So.
Right. So that's Sam Curran.
Yeah, Tom Curran might play as well as the bowler, but Sam Curran's obviously played quite a lot in the IPL, can offer something with bat and ball. So he's a sort of cricketer that comes into their own sort of in the 2020 fold, isn't it?
Yep. So you would have Wood,
Yeah, Wood, Archer, Chris Jordan might play. They rate him as the Yorker specialist, don't they, death bowler. So yeah, the bowling's a bit more up, but if it's fit, it'll be Wood, Archer, Wokes possibly, and then you've got Moeen and Rashid. They'll play two spinners.
Is Chris Wokes there?
I think he is. I'm not entirely sure.
I can remember. No, I think he's gone back. I've got a feeling he's gone back. I'm pretty sure I've heard
Mo and Ali were about 8. You'll have Mo and Ali and Rashid in there, so you'll have two spinners.
Right.
You have Mo and Ali at 7, maybe Tom Curran at 8, Rashid 9, and then it might be Archer and Wood 10, 11.
Right. Okay. Good side.
You've got a luxury, as India obviously have got Hardik Pandya, England have got Ben Stokes that can bowl as well. So you've got a batsman in that top 5 or 6 that can bowl. It means you can add depth to the batting lineup as well as picking, a bowler as well.
But India did look at playing. I think Natarajan was in the focus, and he's out now. Also, the likes of the two spinners, and what were the names? Not Chahal. There was another 2 that were mentioned.
Jalal, Chahar. I'm sure
Yes.
Chahar is in the mix, and Sundar as well. Washington Sundar.
Yeah, but Sundar's not injured though.
No,
but there are 2 spinners that are been playing very well in the domestics that are meant to be up there that are not. That was the question. Yeah. All right. We wanted to have more questions answered to today. So Ray is saying no. Tom Curran. Well, it's probably only going to be Sam. I think Kuldeep might be a chance. I doubt it though. Akshar Patel looks like he's got himself in. And the Varun Chakravarti was the player I think that's having the injury. I think he was the one that was injured. Because they were mentioning that quite heavily today. Extra Time mentioned it. They got the word on it, and I think that was mentioned to me as well.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure about the Indian. I obviously know Natarajan's out, but yeah, just be interesting to see where they go. It seems like they're going to go with an extra bowler, but I don't know how much. Bhuvi Kumar's coming back in. He hasn't played a lot of international cricket. It's his first call up since 2019. So, he's obviously been playing domestic cricket, but that's quite a big jump to go straight back in at that level, isn't it? It's
you're only bowling 4 overs.
Yeah, but he's still match fit. I'm not saying he's not fit. I'm saying the intensity and the quality of batters. He wouldn't have bowled against that for a little while. So,
no, but I mean, someone like Malinga, let's be honest, was quite unfit at certain stages of his T20 career, and was still very well. He got through 4 overs pretty well.
Oh yeah, it's not a fitness thing for Bhuvi. I mean, it's the sort of match fitness. He wouldn't have bowled at guys as good as Milan. He's been playing domestic cricket in India, which I'm sure the standard's good, but it's not international cricket, is it? So it might take him a game or 2 to sort of get back into that intensity, sort of, if that makes sense.
Okay. We've lost Mervyn, and his reception is pretty bad, I'm afraid. He's an amazing character, Mervyn. He looks so young, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He looks young. Every time he's on, he looks younger. It makes me feel terrible because I think I look older. All right. Any other insights that you have thought about overnight?
I don't think so.
You spoke yesterday with who was it? David and David. Or you and I spoke about it. Obviously, in a poem the night before was David with Adam.
Mm-hmm. I had a question on Twitter with someone about our World 11. And you went with Sunil Gavaskar, and the question was, how can you pick him over Gordon Greenwich?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Not my era, so I wouldn't be able to. It would obviously be for your.
Gordon Greenwich was amazing. But I must say, Gordon Greenwich was very often good because of his partnership with Desmond Haynes and earlier on with Roy Fredericks. Did you ever see Roy Fredericks bat?
Not seen him at all, no.
He was a left-hander. He wasn't what you would call a beautiful batsman, but he was the toughest nut. Lillian Thompson, all the best bowlers would get stuck into him, and he would go straight back, and he would literally take them on in a fight. It was probably one of the most... Oh, what have I done?
Chris.
I think I got rid of Chris. That was not... Oh, hello. What hat have we got there?
Huh?
I was saying,
I'm not wearing a hat.
Chris, I hope I didn't scare you.
Oh, I can't see him, Evan.
What is it? You should know it, Chris. Must be related to you.
Oh, here it is. It's coming in now. 2 secs.
What's the hat you wear?
Can't see him yet.
You're not seeing Merv. What is it, Merv?
No, I can't. I can't hear him either.
I can hear him and I can see.
Here we go. I can see him now.
What is it? Oh, it's an Indian hat. Is it? No, what?
Sure.
Can you see it?
I can see it. We're not sure what it is.
Who is it, Merv?
It's the beast. It's the beast.
I can't. I can see a big white star and a red thing.
It's the BCCI.
Oh, of course. Have you been bribing?
It's India blue.
Ah, you've converted. Mervin's become West Indian in the true sense of the word.
Indian blue.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what the West Indies will do now. They'll claim to be a Western province of India. Is that what you're going to do, Mervin?
I'll see if I can get it.
Looks a little bit like it. It does. Yes, it does. India.
It's an Indian fluffy.
So Mervin.
It's an old version of it anyway.
So Mervin, are you saying you're Indian now? Are you saying you're Indian? Can you speak?
He's not.
I'm just joking.
Sorry?
Are you Indian now? West Indian. Indian.
If I am,
You can't hear me.
I'm not hearing anything.
That's all right. So, Chris, just talk on about the questions we're getting. It seems like Bhuvanesh Kumar looks like. How do you pronounce that?
Bhuvaneshwar. Bhuvi. I call him Bhuvi.
Shaul Thakur, Hardik Pandya, Shahal, Washington. It's probably a fair.
If that's the bowling lineup they go in with, I don't think they will. I think Washington would drop out for Axar. I don't see them not playing Axar Patel. You know, he's a white ball where he's sort of earned his money so far. And he seems, you know, if that's the 5 they're going in bowling wise, that looks a little bit light on the bowling, if I'm honest. You know, there's quite a lot of inexperience there. You know, you're relying on Hardik to be a frontline bowler, whereas England are going to rely on Stokes as probably a 6th bowler, which is a big change in dynamic. You know, I would imagine that they'll want to go in with Axar over Washington just for a bit more stability or a bit more experience. If that's the bowling attack that India play, I think England will fancy the chances. I think batting lineups are quite similar. I think that they're both very confident, both big hitting. But you know, if you're going to compare that bowling lineup compared to Jofra Archer, Mark Wood, Adil Rashid, Moeen Ali, then England's bowling attack looks better on paper, in my opinion.
I'm just taking a photo of Merv's hat. It's great photos. All right, so okay. They keep on asking us they want the full 11. I thought we mentioned the full 11, but Rohit Sharma and Rahul will probably open the batting with Kohli at first drop. This Surya Kumar might be then put in, or it's like Mayank Agarwal, Pant Hardik Pandya. Then you'll have, I'd say, the likes of Axar Patel probably. Bumrah's not in there, so it's going to have to be someone other than him. It'll probably be
Chahar, what's the curve? I think I haven't seen any talk about Agarwal playing. I wouldn't expect him to play. I think Shiras Iyer will probably play. We'll probably get the nod over Yadav, Surya Kumar Yadav. He's obviously a guy who's made his money in the IPL. So yeah, I think that the bowling attacks is probably where it will be won or lost in the one day and in the 2020 side. And in India, obviously rested. They've got no Shami; he's injured. Jadeja's out. Ashwin's not about. Bumrah's rested. So, I see that England's bowling attack will be more experienced and hopefully can show that and hopefully can put in some good performances.
Shardul bowls well in the shorter form, though. He does really
but he hasn't played lots of international cricket, and it's a different game. And I'm not saying he's not a good bowler. It's experience counts for a lot in these things, doesn't it? So.
The Pandya's not going to roll his arm over, you reckon?
Well, but looking at it, I mean, he might have to.
There is extensive footage of him bowling in the nets in the lead up to this match.
If you look at the sides that have been put in from here, he's the fifth bowler. He'll have to bowl. So, it'll be interesting to see. England will go in with probably a better balanced side, and more experienced side, and it's going to be a great series. It's going to be hard to call. India will probably have to rely on their batting to win it, I think, because I think that England will probably got a better bowling attack, especially if Archer plays. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
All right. Have you watched the women's cricket, Mervyn? Did you? Because India beat South Africa. After South Africa beat India, India were 1 for whatever down, 180 down, and South Africa did the same thing, Chris. It's quite a bizarre result. Mervyn, you're talking, we can't hear you.
Your mic's off, Merv.
Your mic. Look at your mic.
There you go.
You can hear me
now?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, great. I was saying that sometimes experiences has its disadvantages and advantages. For exactly what I'm saying is that if some of these players have met these players before, they would have done their homework as to know exactly how to deal with them. But to bring someone in new, they have to take a little time to know exactly how they're going to approach that person. Sometimes that is when the inexperienced sometimes get the better of the experienced players.
Very true. Very true.
So.
I really want to see the West
But
Indies
I totally agree with Chris. It's really going to be, as I said before, it's going to be a very excited series because both teams are very they play positive and positive cricket. They believe in attacking every ball, and it's like an extended version of the T20 because I've seen this guy Bairstow, man, and I mean I was wondering if I was watching a T20 or an ODI, the way how this guy was playing, and I believe that's the way that both teams are going to really approach the series.
Well, today is the 10th, so it's only 3 days away.
Yeah, maybe a good omen for England as well was the result in the road safety T20 Legends Series last night. England pulled off a good win against India. Maybe people do believe in the sort of omens and their lucky stars. So England won that. Looked like it was going to be fairly comfortable, but wasn't in the end, I think. But Kevin Peterson's is still probably good enough to be playing at some level, isn't he? And he's as newly retired as any of those guys there, and that probably says a lot.
And Monty took some wickets.
Norman, let me ask you. What about this guy? This Australian. He plays in the PSL, and he opens, and he's a very good all-rounder. But he still seems to be in good nick. But
Chris Lynn.
Did he officially retire? What's his name?
Chris Ben Cutting.
No. Oh, he's devastating in the IPL, in the PSL. Anyway, he plays.
Chris Lynn.
But he's not
Dan Christian.
What's the name?
Dan Christian.
Dan Christian?
Yes, everything he touches, every time he's involved with a T20. Daniel Christian.
Oh, he's a good field. Look, he's a good all-around cricketer, but I think he still has a lot in him, but he doesn't play for Australia anymore.
Well, I think he was given
Boy,
a chance to be in the greatest squad.
The name has slipped me.
No, in the greatest squad, he was actually in the greatest squad for this just New Zealand series. Actually, he was selected in the squad. It wasn't used, which is bewildering. Every time he wins BBLs, he wins PSLs, he wins.
He's an all-rounder. He does a little medium sort of. He does a little medium stuff.
It's Dan Christian.
Yeah, Dan Christian.
And he opens when he plays in the IPL. Well, for the Creator Gladiators in the Pakistan Super League.
Well, he can bat anywhere. But it's interesting because there are three guys that play a lot of the franchise cricket: Ben Dunk, Ben Cutting, and Chris Lynn. Those three guys, as I think I told you, all three of those guys at the age of 12, 13, 14, 15.
It's none of those guys.
Yeah, but
as a matter of fact, I always said he looked like Patrick Swayze, the movie star, the actor, you know.
It's Dan Christian. Dan Christian.
No, he's not. No, that's not the name.
All right.
He played for Australia in the 90s. Yeah, I've got his name. Next time on the program, I'll get that name.
Yes, that's Merv's homework. That's Merv's homework.
What's it?
That's your homework for the next episode.
You're not talking about Shane Watson, are you?
I think we've lost him again.
Yeah. I don't think it's Shane Watson, because Patrick Swayze looks a bit like Dan. It looks a bit like Shane Watson, to be honest.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
But I was just saying before, Ben Cutting, Ben Dunk, and Chris Lynn, all three of them went on my tour to Sri Lanka 4 or 5 years in a row when they were young kids. Incredible how all three of them have gone on. Haven't quite made it for Australia, but they've been in and around that sort of network.
Yeah, they're making a good living, aren't they? Playing all those the Big Bash, and good luck to them. Yeah.
I feel the worst about Chris Lynn, to be honest, because to me, Chris Lynn could have been anything. If he kept himself in the park, his batting, despite being a big hitter, was also very, very sound and was a valuable player. And he really
It's just a shame that the way that the white ball cricket that these guys, probably like Chris Lynn, have come in 17, 18, 19 and thought, I don't want to work on my technique game. I'm just going to work at whacking it because that's where I'm going to earn all my money and that's where it's fun, you know. And you lose players out of the Test match. You look at Alex Hales, Jason Roy for England, you know, probably been quite good Test match players if they worked on their technique, but just decided to work on the white ball game, and you know, they're earning more money from it probably. But you know, we want to.
Well, Chris Lynn was actually very technically sound.
Yeah,
he was he could have been anything, but you're right. He had too many batters in front of him, and he decided, I'll go in the IPL or the short version of the game, and didn't even think about playing for Australia. He did play one day in T20 for Australia, but certainly not the Test team, which is a real pity. Well, we've gone over an hour now.
Yeah, I might have to head off shortly if that's okay.
That's okay. I mean, I'm expecting Mervyn won't be able to come back now if that's the case. So we might wrap it up. Tomorrow we'll get the girls on.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we'll have a session. Well, tomorrow is the 11th.
Yeah.
With the girls. The 12th will be the pre-match. Well, we'll see what we're going to do. It's not a Test match. It is a T20.
We could just do a post-match or something. There's no point in doing both, is there? Because there's only a couple of hours long in the game. So
no. You mean pre to the match. No, we won't do pre's to the match. We'll just do the post. All right.
Sounds okay.
All right. But
yeah, perfect.
All right. We might wrap it up there. That's been a wonderful session and well deserved. So thanks everybody. We've talked to most questions. I think Lynn has been a fair bit of discussion about Lynn, but yeah, Chris Lynn certainly played in the UAE in 18 against Pakistan. He said sixes all over the place. Didn't take any questions, mate. Ray, we have been taking questions. We've been taking questions the whole time.
Sorry, Ray. Ray's messaged me on Twitter. He likes being nasty to the England cricket team. So hopefully the England boys can would have seen his comments. I've forwarded all of them on to Joe Root and Ben Stokes, and they say we're coming to get you, Ray.
The reality is that the top 4 teams of the World Cup will be India, England, Australia, and probably New Zealand.
Yeah, there's a lot of the beauty of 2020 cricket is that sides can win if sides turn up in form. You know, probably
Like a
any of
Pakistan
those top 5 or 6 sides can win it. You know, South Africa on a slump, but you know they could turn up. I don't see them winning it, but you know if the West Indies find form, you know if Chris Gale has his socks on, and I think Dwayne Bravo is a bit past it now for that international stage. I think that Pollard is too. I think that Russell's over the hill a little bit, but you know, Pakistan could easily pull something out of the bag in that series. And you've only got to win one game. You know, it's a knockout tournament. You don't have to win a best of 5. You know, that's the beauty of knockout cricket is that someone turns up on the day and someone has an off day. You know, anyone could beat anyone, and that's the beauty of it. But yeah, I imagine that the top 4 will be England, India, Australia, and I'm going to say Pakistan.
Well, they've certainly looked good lately, that's for sure. But the West Indies, I wouldn't discount the West Indies. You put, you know, the likes of what was his name? The big boy.
Gale, Pollard, Russell. Now they've got good players. I just think that the West Indies for the 20, they're all a bit over. They're not in their prime. I think that would be fair to say. You know, Chris Gale, Pollard, Russell. You know, they can all win games, but you know they're not athletic. They're not. You know, they're not going to win any games in the field. That's for sure. So there'll be everyone's thing that they'd want to win the West Indies with those guys playing, but I don't think they could consistently be good enough over a tournament to beat. They'd have to beat everyone, wouldn't they? I could see them beating England or India or Australia in a one-off game, but they'd have to beat everyone to win that tournament. They'd have to beat all 3 of them, and I don't think that at their age and sort of where they're at career-wise, I don't think they're consistently good enough to win the tournament. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I was just thinking of Carlos Braithwaite. That's all.
He might not even play.
Remember the name? He can come out of nowhere. He played the BBL. Actually, played for the
Sixers.
Yeah, and they won.
The guy's been that one over against Ben Stokes. You know, he's the sort of guy that's made a career on it. Hasn't done anything since. I know he's played, but doesn't do very well. Doesn't take many wickets. You know, fair play to him.
He's a draw card.
He's
he's larger than life. He's a very nice bloke. He's a draw card. And Chris, I'm afraid it's more about draw. Again, if Chris Gale just turns up and doesn't do much,
what I'm saying is I don't know if Carlos Braithwaite will play. I don't think he played in the recent series against Sri Lanka, did he?
No, he didn't.
And they all played in that.
Yeah, but anyway, I think the man, this stature is still. You need people like that around the game.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, I'm going to head off, Norman.
We're going to all head off, Mervyn. We're going to head off. All right.
But I don't know if you're hearing me, but I remember the name. It's Shane Watson.
I thought it was.
He's past it, Shane Watson, isn't he?
He was the perennial. I'm going to call that on my LBWs. Oh, Mervyn, Shane Watson was a pain in the butt.
Not very well liked, I don't think. Typical Queenslander. Not many Aussies liked him.
No, he had some issues. I tell you, he was very much wasn't liked in the end. I remember that. I can talk about the one time in Dominica, which I was there for, and I could tell he was on the nose. And I can remember him and Michael Clark having a very big fight on the field, and there was no crowd. Everybody that was there, which was a handful, heard every single word of the fight because they were actually physically in full audibility. You can imagine it, Chris. No one's there, and they were fighting. He was at first slip. He refused to go to. Well, I can remember he refused to go to fine leg, and Michael Clark insisted because he was bowling to go to fine leg. He wanted to stay at first slip, and they had a big fight about it. And Michael Clark had his moments where he wasn't liked as well, like especially by Simon Kadich. But then Michael Clark was a pretty reasonable guy otherwise, to be really honest with you. And I think the perpetrator there was definitely Shane Watson, not Clark.
Perfect. Cool. I'm going to shoot. I'm going to have work to do.
Okay. Michael Clark, just to let you know, Michael Clark's actually a nice guy.
Yeah, I'm
sure. Very wrongly in the press. I think he's a very nice guy. I would not have a higher regard for Shane Watson if I compare the two. All right, Mervyn, it was with your Indian hat, which is going to go back.
I'll see you later, guys.
Did you get the name, Shane Watson?
Yep, we talked about it when you were just off. So, Mervyn,
fantastic. Yeah, I think he still has a lot in him.
Oh, yeah.
My pleasure. Anytime, Norms.
Look, you know what? We're so happy to have you. I'm going to take a photo of us together. it's a rare moment to be just with you there. And you know that you won the hearts of Shapali, Pretty, Apana. They all love you. You're a true gentleman.
Oh my God, yes. I love them too.
they all love you. They talk about you endlessly, all of them. So Shapali will be on tomorrow. What we should do tomorrow is I'll send you the link and you come in and surprise it. All right? At a later stage.
Yes. And I'll surprise you too, Norman. Yeah.
Okay, good. I'll send you the link for tomorrow. All right, Mervyn. Thank you very much.
Cheers, man.
Namaste.
Have a good day.
Say
Bless.
namaste.
Bless.
Namaste.
Okay. Chris, goodbye.
He's gone too. All right, Mervyn.
Namaste.
Take care. All right, take care.
Good. Cheers. Okay.
Okay. So this is Norman Koshnak saying goodbye to everyone. Again, it was lovely to have Mervyn and Chris here, and we'll have a number of guests. We'll have an all-women's panel. Shapali Rurakoti. We'll have obviously Apana Saini. We'll have Pretty Upala. We'll have Gargi Wonka. We'll also have potentially more people on as well. So have a great time. And Mervyn, look at that big smile on Mervyn's face. Permanently a smiling. It's because he's in God's country, Antigua, with 365 beaches, and they find an extra beach on the leap year every year. They find that leap year beach, and Jolly Beach. I love it to death. We're gonna get everybody on this audience to make a trip to Antigua in the next few years, without a doubt. All right, guys, take care. All the best. Speak to you soon. This is Norman Koshnak and Eyes on Cricket with Norman Koshnak. Don't forget to view, like, and share the posts. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And hey, guys, invite more people to the channel. Share in your WhatsApp groups. Make clear that this is a place to come to listen every day. We'll have a session at this time of the night. So enjoy. It's Norman Koshnak with Eyes on Cricket. All the best.